welcome to another edition of OnPoint Live. This is NFL Wild Card Weekend, Jackie. And I'm Vince Ferragamo, former Los Angeles Rams quarterback. Alongside me is NFL 20-year Hall of Famer Jackie Slater. And Jackie, we're here to watch this Tampa Bay and Dallas game. And after a slow start, man, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game. Man, I'm telling you, the winner of this game is going to travel to San Francisco next week. So I'm telling you, after a slow start, Jackie, 2 3-and-outs for both teams. The Dallas Cowboys put a nice drive together, marched down the field. Here it is, a couple minutes before halftime, and they're leading 12-0. Their kickers missed 2 extra points for Dallas.
We got a problem now. I got a problem. You know how I feel about kickers, man. You can't be, and especially in a big game like this, man. They're 2 points down. Brady is capable of putting 2 touchdowns up just like that. We all know that. Everybody in the country knows it. And then we'll be sitting here looking at them having to do something out of desperation to make up a 2-point situation. It's almost, it's just almost under, you just can't forgive a guy. You get somebody, and Bones. How about that? John Fossil. John Fossil, one of the best special team coaches in the game. Is with the Rams a long time, been around. I mean, he allows this to happen.
Their kicker,
it bothers me.
Bothers me. Mayer is from Nebraska. Come on, now, he's got to produce now. That's my alma mater.
That might have something to do with the reason why Nebraska haven't been winning no game.
Well, their kicking game now is certainly more than just that, Jackie. But I'll tell you what, Jackie, uncharacteristically, you mentioned Tom Brady. He threw that interception when he was down on the 5-yard line. It was like, where was he throwing it? I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds.
I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds.
He was trying to get rid of it. But, I really appreciate what's going on. Jensen, Jackie, and you can talk more about the offensive line. I mean, that's meant a big plus for Tampa Bay.
Huge plus.
But the Cowboys, I noticed, Jackie, they're just really coming. They're playing at the top level right now on defense. They're really getting after them.
They're getting after them pretty good. And they're taking advantage of some of those guys inside there. But, it's going on with both these defensive lines. I mean, I saw Big Vita Vea early in the ballgame beat a center on a routine over-the-top move that he should never allow himself to get beat with. He had a back sitting right there to help him in the A-gap. And he jumped down.
He ran right over him, didn't he?
And he gave up the backside A-gap. I mean,
he's a ton to block.
He's a ton to block, and his elusiveness on that particular play just jumped out at me. I'm thinking, man, if this continues to happen this way, there's no doubt in my mind who's gonna lose this ball game.
Now we just saw a split screen, Jackie. So they're really trying to go quick count because we're approaching 2 minutes here. And so they were still replaying the previous play. But one thing I've noticed about the Cowboys tonight is that Dak Prescott is really right on.
Yeah,
he's throwing to his tight ends a lot, Jackie.
Going to those tight ends.
He's got Ferguson. He's got on a long completion. He already threw to Schultz for 1 touchdown. Just hit him on a big 3rd down play right there over the middle. So they're using their tight ends in this system, and I think it's working effectively.
Vince, it's a little bit uncustomary for them this year. I don't remember ever watching a Cowboy game this season where I saw them go to the tight ends as much as they have tonight at this early in the ball game. So obviously, the offensive coordinator said, hey, we got to really exploit these guys.
Kellen Moore.
Sure. Yeah, we got to exploit these guys. And you think about the linebackers, White, and I can't think of his other name right now, but those guys are very active in the run game. They can cover, but they're nosy. They want to stick their nose in those gaps and stop that run game, put the pressure on teams to throw the ball all the time so they can pin their ears back and get after them. So with them up there around that line of scrimmage, those tight ends will be behind them an awful lot.
Well, Jackie,
which is what we're seeing.
Give the Cowboys coaching staff a lot of credit for this game so far. It's still early in the game.
It's still early.
But did you see Dak Prescott down on the goal line? And you talked about their linebackers are overactive. Okay, they're very aggressive. They went for that fake. And was that a beautiful fake?
It was a beautiful fake.
He came out of the.
You see how long he held the ball?
Jackie, he looked at the running back going through the hole, and he just paused there for a second. Everybody got sucked right in.
Everybody got sucked in.
He just did a naked bootleg to the left. And, it was a great call.
It was.
Because a lot of times, I wish we would have called that play when we played Oklahoma when I was I was a junior when we played them down there. That play was wide open.
Were you as fast as him?
No. That's probably why they didn't call it, Jackie. They wanted to throw it.
But Vince, one of the things, and I hear a lot of people talk about Prescott.
Yeah,
it's his ability to make good decisions from the pocket. He's a good athlete. He can run. He can take off. He can make plays like the one we just saw.
Yeah.
But this guy seems to me to be a guy who wants to prove himself from the pocket, like the great quarterbacks often want to do. And then when you have a unique situation like that where you can let him use his legs,
yes.
I mean that's just a given. if I was a defensive coordinator, which I've never been,
yeah.
But if I were a defensive coordinator and I'm down there like that, I'm thinking we're going to watch the naked boots with this guy because he can kill us with his legs as well.
Well, Jackie, you talked about the quarterback's elusive running ability, and I think we've seen that more and more in the NFL today. And, great offenses. I mean, that's one of the really plays that really bothers the defense the most, Jackie. Here you see then they're not throwing to CD Lamb a lot, but they just threw a quick screen to him, Jackie. You see his effort, though. You look at that kind of play right there, Jackie, and it looked like he was going to be tackled for no loss, for no gain.
Yes.
But he gets 5 yards on sure determination to put his head down and get as much as he can. That's a big play in my mind.
Yeah, it is a huge play.
Because now as you progress down the calling plays, now it's second down. Now you're manageable. You're in a manageable situation. So I've been impressed with the Cowboys thus far. I've been impressed with both sides, really. And both sides are playing really good. But the Cowboys are executing to perfection to this point.
Yeah, so far they're doing really well.
So we're at a timeout right before halftime, Jackie, and the Cowboys are on the move again right prior to half. But we have to talk about there was 5 playoff games this weekend.
Oh yeah,
and this is the third NFC game, of course. But let's talk a little bit about those NFC matchups that we had this weekend, Jackie. Let's start with the San Francisco game. San Francisco was at home.
It was at home.
Okay, against Seattle. Now, we last week, remember, we thought the Packers were going to be playing them. Remember?
Yes, we did. In fact, I think we said it on our show.
Yeah, I know, but that was a game.
It certainly was a fantastic game, and I'm still amazed at this Mr. Irrelevant,
Mr. Brock Purdy.
Mr. Brock Purdy. I'm still amazed him, but my amazement at him goes beyond just him.
Yeah,
it goes to Shanahan, the head coach. Sure. Shanahan, the head coach. If you were to look, he knows that he has Deebo Samuels. He has all of these weapons, Vince. All of these weapons at his disposal, and he uses these guys. Not necessarily now Deebo Samuels had a 60-70 yard touchdown run down the right sideline. Remember last week?
Yeah.
He had the big run. But Vince, think about most of the time. If you go and look at most of the time, and I haven't looked at the numbers, but I remember when Joe Montana was playing his very best football, Vince, the distance between the ball leaving his hand and getting to a receiver's hands was something like 6.5 yards. Yeah, it wasn't like they were throwing the football 80, 90 yards down the
West
field.
Coast offense.
Yeah, 6, 8. Wow. And that was what we're seeing with Purdy. This guy is just distributing the ball to playmakers on short passes. I mean, if we go and look at it, I bet you that ball is round about 7 yards out of his hand to the receiver. And then the guys are running after the catch. Beautifully designed plays. And I don't think there's anybody in the National Football League doing it any better than Shanahan right now.
Well, Jackie, let's talk a little bit about that quarterback. I mean, he is in his first year as a rookie, and you know how long it takes you to get acclimated to the NFL, the style of the game, the speed of the game. He's making great decisions, Jackie. He's thrown for 330 yards or more this past week. This is the first time I think a rookie quarterback's thrown for that many yards in a playoff game. And Jackie had a quarterback rating of 131.
Unbelievable. And, Vince, I wanted to ask you this. When I'm looking at that game, I said, I wonder if Vince can tell me whether or not they are specifically designing plays to attack this defense where they only have to throw the football 7 yards, 6 yards to get it out of the quarterback's hand and limiting the amount of reading that he has to do. It's not like I see this guy scanning the whole field, Vince.
No.
I see him look here, and then he goes there. He looks there, and then he goes there. Simple stuff.
He's giving him quick reads and progression reads, Jackie. He'll make a quick determination whether the player is open. If not, he'll look to a second choice. If he doesn't have that very quickly, he'll decide to run it.
This is bad now, Vince. The big left tackle, the 40-year-old left tackle.
Oh, yeah, Peters,
yeah,
right?
Big Jason Peters just tapped out. He tapped himself. See, he's walking off the field now.
Oh, that's a big
40.
loss.
He's 40 years old, Vince. He's pointing at his hip. He could have popped the hip flexor. That hip joint could have popped out. Listen, man, when you get 40 years, listen, I can tell you, man, when you get 40 years old and you're trying to play this game, and they're trying to show us what happened to him. He's just moving laterally right there, and then he stopped, and he moved back inside. Yeah, it was nothing.
These are the highlight reels, and this is the keeper that he.
Oh yeah.
This is the play we were highlighting earlier, Jackie. But you're right. I think the number one thing in the NFL today, Jackie, has always been this way, is pass protection.
You got to be able to pass,
and you have to know your protection schemes. You have to really make it as exciting as possible.
Right.
So I mean, there's so much to talk about. in this first quarter of our talk tonight, Jackie.
It's exciting.
We can't wait to get back
right?
and talk to our viewers more about what happened in the playoff game this weekend. We'll be right back, so don't go away. Stay tuned. The Dallas Cowboys are on the move.
They're on the move again.
Well, welcome back to OnPoint Live. We just witnessed another great play, and look at Jerry Jones in the booth. Jackie is going crazy. They just threw another touchdown pass against Tampa Bay, and guess who it was? To Schultz, the tight end. He has been just manipulating this game. That was just so methodical, the way they drove that ball down, their quick screens. Jackie, they threw a slant route. They threw a couple plays over the middle and ended up on a scramble. Jackie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the protection was good. I don't know why he came out of the pocket. That young guy that replaced Peters at left tackle had locked down his guy. The left guard had locked down. There was no penetration whatsoever. And I think he just drifted out.
Jackie, a third miss.
That's unbelievable.
He's missed three extra points.
This is the National Football League.
That's a field goal.
You know what it stands for? Not for long if you keep kicking like that.
Goodness gracious.
And Vince, I got to tell you, I'll never ever pull against Tom Brady. I won't ever pull against Tom Brady. But I'm happy to see Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones is a cool owner. I really like the way he interacts with his with his players over the years. I've watched him over the years a long time, and he has a great deal of loyalty to people. I'm envious of that. I really appreciate when I see that type of thing going on with him. It wasn't always that way, and then with very few owners around. I know the San Francisco 49ers used to boast about their ownership for years and years, and we had some decent ownership. But I just marvel at the love that their specific players, good players, the stories they've told me about, their interaction with Jerry Jones. So he's a Hall of Famer, and he's a Hall of Fame owner. He's a good guy. I met him and talked to him a few times, and I'd like to see him. Like to see his team do well. It's hard for me not to pull for him.
He's been so enthusiastic, Jackie, regarding his team, and not only is he an owner, but he's really in with the players.
Yes,
I mean,
that's what I mean.
He does a lot of things for the players. He's really, even when Dak Prescott was out with an injury and he was having an off year, he still backed him.
Yeah,
he still had
did.
the trust in his players, and that goes a long way for players in this league because you're all professionals, and you're not always going to play at your best.
You're right. And Vince, he is a bit of an active owner, general manager type of guy. So, a lot of people, have got other things going on. They're busy, and they hire people to do those jobs for them because they're invested in so many different places. They can't be everywhere, and I understand that. But it's always refreshing to see a guy like he was an old offensive lineman.
Yeah,
he played offensive guard in college.
That's right. I know.
In college, and so he owns the team, and he's showing a real commitment to those kids.
He loves the game, doesn't he?
He loves the game.
Yeah,
he's a former player. He loves the game. So I'm always happy to see him, particularly this time of year, his teams do well.
Yes. Dallas Cowboys have always been the Rams' nemesis over those years, Jackie,
goodness.
all those years. And when we first joined the team years ago, and
they were thumping us left and right.
We had to beat Dallas to go to the Super Bowl back in 1980.
It seemed like everybody who went to the Super Bowl back then had to beat Dallas. I can still remember still remember the big play that Joe Montana threw. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, the catch.
He threw it over
Dwight Clark.
He threw it over Too Tall Jones at 6'9" there, and got him to
rolling
jump.
out.
Yeah,
it looked like he was throwing the ball away, Jackie. I don't think Joe will ever admit it.
It looked like he was throwing
it away. But then they came back and they said, "Well, we practiced that play. Well, how can we practice that play? I mean, that ball seemed like it was going into the end zone, but." Anyway, the most surprising thing about tonight's game, Jackie, is the point after attempt by the kicker. He's missed all three. I don't know if that's going to come back to haunt the Cowboys. I sure hope it doesn't. But hopefully he'll make one soon. But miss three in a row
in a big game like this, a big game like this. This is a game.
There's no wind. I don't think
a game
in Tampa.
of inches. Is a game where every point matters. It's a game where every ounce of energy you put into every single play that you play, it matters, Vince. And I can tell you from experience, anytime that I ever was, I think I played in 18 different playoff games. And anytime that I ever was tired and felt like, okay, well, a bunch of circumstances is going to cover me and my effort on this particular play. Every time I left the effort out of the equation, bad things happen from my perspective. So you never cut yourself. You never cut your effort off. You never underestimate the opponent's effort. You got to assume that they're going to be rolling at 99.9 miles per hour with every step that they take. And then that's how if you operate that way, then you have a chance to be successful.
Jack, you said something earlier that Tom Brady has never lost to the Cowboys.
Never lost to the Cowboys.
And that's kind of remarkable. Here they're trailing.
I think he's 10-0.
And the other stat I just saw too, Jackie, is that he's never trailed at halftime with having a goose egg on with no points. He's never in a playoff game since. Well, wait, I should go back to 2001. He was blanked in the first half. But you know what? Don't count Tom Brady ever out of a game.
No,
because he's a competitor and he'll play to the end.
He will. And the people around him, because they know that, Vince. Yeah. You know that you're going to be fighting. You know that they're going to be fighting every step of the way.
Were you surprised to see Jensen playing? He didn't play the entire year.
Was.
Tonight, he was in the lineup.
I really was, Vince. But, when you think about offensive line positions, that's a position, in my opinion, I don't want to offend Doug Smith, because Doug Smith was one of the brightest guys that we played with. But that position right there, the communication that they bring to the table is so crucial for the cohesiveness that you want those five guys to play with.
Yes.
And just the mere fact that he's going to be able to recognize all these situations, get them in and out of bad protections, maybe to go to the hot guys, and just the knowledge that he brings to the table, it makes everybody calm down. it makes everybody know that they're good in good hands. And all they got to do is focus on their technique. They don't have to pay a whole lot of attention to who's lined up where, because that's Jensen's job. And he's one of the best in the business at doing it.
You know what I saw him do earlier in this game, Jackie? And a lot of the plays and the offensive calls stem from the center, and they stem out, right? Don't they? Because you would talk to Dennis Hare on the left guard, and you guys would communicate, okay, how are we going to handle this? But he was making directional calls at the line of scrimmage, Jackie. He got up and he was pointing to the right. I got this guy. Okay, I'm going to double team this guy on the left, and he's pointing left. He's like doing the quarterback's job at the line of scrimmage. And you know what? To me, I feel really confident when I see that from an offensive lineman up in front directing traffic.
Absolutely.
You know?
And it really does take the onus off of Tom.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tom in his mind.
He's agreeing. He's going, hey, that's a good call. I like that call.
I'm sure in Tom's Brady's mind, he's very aware of what the centers are calling. And I bet you that if that center made a call going in the wrong direction, Tom would step in and correct it.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind about that. But if he knows that Jensen is systematically making the correct calls all the time, now his mind can go from protection to reading defenses. It can go from protection to seeing where guys are making their breaks and coming in and out of their breaks and looking for the ball. That's just the way it works.
Right. And what I sense too, Jackie, and I know you can't really quantify or qualify it, but the quarterback, Tom Brady, feels so much more comfortable sitting behind there with a guy like that up front.
Oh, yeah.
And I can just tell the way his body mechanics, how he's coordinated about behind center. So, I mean, if anything, that's a big plus for Tampa Bay coming in the second half. You know, this first half has just ended now, Jackie. Tampa Bay had the ball. They
pretty much dominated the half.
Dallas really took it to him. You know, Parsons kind of hobbling off the field a little bit. That could be a big loss.
That could be a huge loss. Let's hope
he's okay.
He's a young guy. You know, this is his second year, and unless he's got something, he's rubbing his knee down there, down below his knee, like a contusion or something in that big old calf of his, and hopefully it's not that bad. And you know, at 22, 23 years old, it's amazing how much
they can come back quick.
How much comeback you have.
They can bounce right back, man. Get in and out of that tent, right, Jackie?
He'll limp off the field and sprint back on it in the second half.
You know, Jackie, earlier we were talking in the first break, we were talking about the playoff games and the 49ers. We both liked the 49ers this past week. And, Geno Smith played pretty well too, but you're up against one of the tough defenses in football.
That's what it was.
And, but we also commented on how great Kyle Shanahan's game plan was in protecting not protecting the quarterback, but putting the quarterback in a great position to make plays and to surround him with great guys. He put Deebo Samuel, he rushed the ball 3 times, Jackie, from the backfield, and he caught 6 passes. He was a machine.
Well,
and what about Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
Before
you even start talking about Christian McCaffrey, you're talking about Deebo Samuel.
I know, but
and they got other guys
for like 100.
What about the tight end, Vince?
Oh, yeah.
Kittle.
Kittle's like,
I mean,
everybody steps up.
And, it's almost as if Shanahan says, okay, we're going to have a package of plays for you to catch the ball at 6 yards and run after the catch.
Yeah.
We're going to have a package of plays for you to catch the ball at 6 yards.
And he calls
and run after the catch.
And he calls those plays.
It's a really unique combination of aggression and then game field management. It's like I can remember like it was yesterday, Vince, sitting on the sideline when Bill Walsh was up there in San Francisco, and they had this little fullback named Bill Ring, and I remember sitting there thinking, okay, hurry up and get me watered down because I'm going back in a few minutes. And the next thing you know, that 2 or 3 plays turn into 15 plays later and a field goal. So the whole idea of this type of offense, in my opinion, is to control the opportunities to score. Right. So to have more plays, to have more opportunity.
Well, you said a real important word right there, Jackie. You said control, okay? And when you're in control, where does it start for? It starts with experience. His dad, Mike Shanahan, and we've talked about it over and over again. They have a great, and I'm talking about not just good, but a great understanding of blocking schemes.
Absolutely.
And the running game, because the running game opens up the entire offense. So you're not one-dimensional. You're balanced. You can use play action pass. You can drop back. You can roll out. You can trick play. But without that balance, you can't do all those plays.
Vince,
that's where it starts.
What percentage of the time does that quarterback operate from under center?
Well, he'll get under center. Not a whole lot, but, he'll get down there. He'll get in there.
Well, didn't you tell me that the more the quarterback operates on the center, the more likely and the more dangerous the play action passes become?
Sure is, because when you're in the shotgun, predominantly you're going to be throwing the football.
Right.
So the act of a play action is not as effective.
Absolutely.
From the shotgun. You have to be under center.
And did you notice how many play action passes that got through last week?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was just I'm sitting there thinking, Vince, that is exactly what's going on right here.
Let's talk about another coach, Jackie.
Who's that?
Brian Daboll.
Oh my
The
goodness.
Giants traveled to Minneapolis to play, and I actually picked the Vikings to beat because they've been so lucky all year. But in the playoffs, you need more than just luck.
Yeah. Now, Vince, listen, you and I both picked Minnesota to win that game because the Giants, they had a rough stretch at one point in time. And then the other thing was that though Minnesota was giving up a lot of yards, like 400 yards, they like 7, 8 games where they give up 400 yards, right?
Yeah.
They were 11-0 in one-score games. So they were playing football all the way to the end of the game.
And they win.
And they were winning these close games regardless of who it was they were playing. They were winning these close games. So I figured, okay, this is going to continue to happen, and they're going to continue to have success. But it played out. You know why it played out, in my opinion?
Yeah.
A guy named Daniel Jones.
Exactly.
It is.
Well, no, it's Daboll, because I'm telling you, Jackie, they had a 10-point lead, Jackie. They know how to control the lead. They go, we need to maintain this lead, and we're going to have you running the football. He ran the ball as much as he threw it, Jackie.
I know. He had 70 yards rushing.
Two of his best games this year have been against Minnesota.
Vince, don't you remember a couple of years ago, we were watching Jones take off and run, and we think, why is he taking off and running?
Yeah, he fumbled the ball. Remember,
he
fumbled the
ball. One time he ran like 60 yards and got caught. And I'm thinking, this guy is, probably shouldn't be running with the football, or he does that because he can't operate from the pocket. But he clearly proved that with this coach, the combination of he and Daboll, that he can operate from the pocket, and when things break down, it seems like Daboll has given him the green light to take off and make plays with your legs, and he can do that.
Jackie Hodgins too. Don't forget number 18. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a big target.
Yes,
they really utilize him great. Well, the Giants will move on, and they will. Who do they play next week, Jackie? They got to play Philadelphia. So we'll talk more about that when we come back for the third break. Thanks for joining us here on OnPoint Live. Well, Jackie and I would love to talk to you more about it. Put a comment on the bottom of the screen, and we'll be in touch. Stay tuned for the next show. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to OnPoint Live. I'm Vince, and this is Jackie, and we're just watching the game on the live TV show right now, Jackie, because Tampa Bay and Dallas are going at it. 18-point lead for Dallas, and they're really taking it to them. Start of the third quarter here in a couple minutes. But Jackie, let's go back to some of these games. How about these AFC playoff games? This wild card weekend was a big story. I think the biggest disappointing loss that I've seen in a long time, Jackie, I almost lost sleep over this game, was the Chargers losing to Jacksonville. Jackie, they had a 27-point lead.
Unbelievable.
Okay, the third largest comeback in playoff
interceptions,
history. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence throws 4 interceptions, plus he fumbled the ball once. Now, Jackie, what in the world happened?
Vince, statistics says that if you turn the football over twice, you have an 80% chance of losing the game. And how in the world do we see it flip like that? They turn it over 4 times, man. But it speaks volumes. Speaks volumes for, in my opinion, the talent that they have assembled on that football team and the coach that they've just recently acquired.
As you're talking, I'm thinking of Doug Peterson.
Vince, they have to. I mean, think about the work that he had to do with that young quarterback
to keep him
at
calm.
halftime after throwing 4 picks.
That's what you call a halftime speech, Jackie. And getting your quarterback and getting him on the right page to start the whole second half. Say, hey, look, it's okay. Let's just get this thing going, one play at a time.
Any coach cannot get that kid back on track. Doug Peterson was the man for that job. It was a great hire for that organization. And if you can't look and see the work that he is doing with that young, talented quarterback, then you don't have eyes.
Jackie,
you don't understand what's going on.
When you have a 24-point lead,
it was 27.
27-point lead.
Vince, it's the biggest.
You need to start milking the clock, Jackie, as a quarterback. Okay.
Absolutely.
So Justin Herbert, I hope he steps away from this game thinking, hey, look, why do I have to be in a hurry up mode of offense? When you're behind, you do. Yeah. But when you have the lead, you can, they call milking the 30-second clock.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we were on a group text at that time during the game, right? And
it's driving me crazy.
Did you not text us on the group text and say, why is he snapping the ball with so much time left on the clock?
You're not penalized for using the clock, are you, Jackie? No. You have 40 seconds between plays to get the play off.
Right. And
he snapped the ball with 8 or 10 seconds. You know how many minutes they lost in this game?
I don't know, but it's got to be a lot.
Okay. Do you know how many minutes they took to drive that last drive before the half to give them some confidence heading into the second half, Jack? They had 1:49 seconds. They certainly could have used up that much time.
Oh, definitely.
The last drive of the game to go ahead was 3 minutes and 7 seconds. That's what they needed. And they had it. They had plenty of time.
So who do you blame for that? You can blame the coach or you can blame the quarterback. I think the quarterback will grow and he'll get better.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, but he can be steered the right way with the coaching staff. The coaches are up in the booth. They don't see what's happening. I mean, come on, that's an oversight on their part.
Yeah.
And when you have a 27-point lead, Jackie, you got to be able to run the football. You know what their running backs ran the second half of that game?
How much?
7 yards for running backs.
Yards.
The quarterback scrambled for 12 yards on one run, but that was all their only production on the ground.
Vince, they have Austin Eckler.
Oh, we have a caller, Jackie.
Okay, we'll finish.
Okay,
we'll
finish that thought. Okay, the Chargers. Oh my God. Hello, this is Vincent Jackie on Point. Who's calling in?
This is Joan calling from Orange County. How are you?
Hello, Joan.
Miss Joan. How are you?
Good. I have a question for you.
Okay.
The big question is, how come some teams have such good cultures and others do not? Like, look at the Chargers. Like, that is, whatever that culture is there, it seems to always happen where they lose these unbelievably games they should win, and they don't seem to have the culture that other teams have. And it just seems like the winning teams just have these good cultures. And how do they create that culture within them, that other teams cannot?
That's a great question, John.
Yeah.
A great question. And I can honestly tell you, during the 20 years that I played, I sensed the culture change with the 5 different head coaches that came in. John Robinson had a very special culture that was going to feature big physical offensive linemen, and Eric Dickerson and Charles White and Greg Bell and whoever else we gave the ball to. We were going to be, that was who we were, and everyone knew it on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. And we thrived in that culture. And then we had ones that were very hit and miss and inconsistent, and that's the way we played, very hit and miss and inconsistent. So, but when I think about the Chargers here, Joan, in my opinion, that young coach that they have there now is one of the best young minds in the game, especially defensively. He's one of the best young minds in the game, and he's only been there 2 years, Vance. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to give him some grace because he has done a great job of developing what I think is a pretty thriving, a pretty, good culture for a football team. It's just that they've done this thing called chargering, where they've lost. They've come from ahead, falling behind. They've had that happen to them so many times in the last couple of years.
Well, I've seen that same thing. Go ahead, Joan.
And I think also the type of the athletes have changed over the years, and like since when you played. I mean, I think the teams that are really successful, they don't put up with a lot of the things that maybe other teams will put up with, like say
Bill Belichick, for example. Yeah. In New England. And I was just going to mention that I think the culture, a lot of it has to do with the discipline that you convey to the players, that there is a right, there's a wrong, there's proper attention to detail, to preparation, that we need to focus and have a fine focus, like Chuck Knox used to say.
Individual accountability events.
Right. And, take it upon yourself to get yourself ready to play. A lot of it is self-motivating, but the coach has a lot to do with it. And I know Sean McVay, when he came to the Rams, he developed a culture for winning. And it was all about we, not I. Okay. And that culture was a lot stemmed from the pyramid of success that he implied or imposed on his team. And everybody adapted to it, Jackie, and they all took that lead. And so that's very, very important. And I saw a couple times where a lack of discipline hurt the Chargers in that game. An unsportsmanlike conduct call. And that was
Joey Bosa. I mean, he's a veteran.
He just lost it.
Right.
He completely lost it. And that's totally out of character for him.
Right.
Absolutely.
I feel.
Well,
but I've even heard like George Kittle say about the 49ers. He goes, every once in a while they get somebody here. He's just not the right match, and they're not here long. Right. So there's a certain kind of player that they have to be, because otherwise they're not going to win. I mean, they all have to be on the same page.
What's the NFL stand for, Jackie?
Not for long.
That's right.
It stands for not for long.
And if you don't fit in, like, you're going to be gone, and that's just how it goes.
You are going to be gone, Miss Jones. There's no doubt about that. And, one of the teams that I think we're watching now that's steeped in history, not only from this particular organization, I'm talking about the 49ers, not only from this particular organization, but from the pedigree from which the head coach has come. And I keep saying this over and over and over, but Kyle Shanahan's dad won 2 Super Bowls in Denver. And I have children, and Vince has children. And if my son were to ask me, Dad, how can I take my pass set and not get flipped over here? Or how can I take my pass set and keep this guy off the quarterback on a 3-step drop? Do you think for one moment that I wouldn't tell him how to take a pass set and keep a guy off the quarterback on a 3-step drop? That's the information that I know. That's what I'm going to give him.
Pedigree, that's right.
And it's the same thing with Shanahan. If you look at what's going on in San Francisco right now, you go back and you look at when Shanahan was at Denver, and you see much of the same thing being duplicated via the discipline of the ball players, via the myriad of weapons that the guy has. And it almost doesn't matter who's playing quarterback.
Right.
If the guy's smart enough to distribute the ball and to understand where his position is on the field offensively, he's going to be successful in offense.
You know, Joan, a lot of times when we try to determine who's going to win or lose the game, we look at the matchup between coaches. And, you know, that has probably predominantly a big sway on my mind if who's going to win or lose the game. And as we're looking at the game tonight, we're seeing Mike McCarthy and we're seeing Kellen Moore, who's opened the entire playbook up for this team. And this team is playing lights out. I mean, it's the best I've seen Dallas play in a long time. They're playing on obviously natural grass, but you know, they're playing fast. They're playing with proper perfection, and they're just getting the job done.
Yeah, playing a physical brand of football.
And a lot of it stems from the coaching staff. But that's a great call, Joan. Thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome.
We want to wish you a happy New Year and call us again.
You too.
Okay,
right.
Joni.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was nice.
Well, Jackie, that was, you know, she's pretty sharp. She's really perceptive.
Yes, she is.
She sounds like she's a 49er fan. Jackie.
Oh, no doubt about that. But there's no doubt about that.
She knows she's got a good thing
and
going.
You know, Vince, here again, and that's why I always challenge people who are listening to us, you know, call in. I'm stimulated, and I think Vince is too, by the intuition, by the wisdom of just the average fan. It amazes me at how detailed some people have a tendency to look at our great game that Vince and I played professionally. And if you didn't know anybody, you think you're talking to somebody that's been in the arena like Vince and I the whole time.
I got to interrupt you, Jackie.
Did they score again?
Oh, no. But this Tony Pollard, okay, watch him take this sweep. Watch him just cruise.
Oh,
he's cruising, Jackie.
He's just jogging.
Then he's just going to turn on the Jets.
You're jogging, right?
You know, I mean, it's just so beautiful how he lets the hole open up in front of him and then just turns on the speed.
You know, interesting thing about that young man, he's going to the Pro Bowl.
He's
Ezekiel Elliott's backup.
I know, but they both are a tandem, Jackie.
Yeah, no,
that makes them both good.
Ezekiel is not going to the Pro Bowl. He's going to the Pro Bowl.
Jackie, it looks like Dallas Cowboys are inside the 5-yard line. They're going to score for the fourth time.
They're going to score for the fourth time.
You know, just to go back over that Chargers and Jaguar game, Jackie, it just I was pulling for the Chargers because we're here in Los Angeles,
right?
And Justin Herbert, but you know, they won 10 games, and they start talking about the coach being changed.
Oh no,
I don't really know. I don't agree with that because
I don't agree.
He's progressively getting better and better. And like Joan mentioned, what culture did he bring?
He brought a
players
unique.
Like him.
They love him. Did you see all the guys? Tranquil, all these guys, Sebastian Joseph Day, these guys are free agents.
You think they get another coach that's going to play better for a different coach than this guy?
Derwin James, all of their big name guys, Bosa, all of their big name guys spoke up for Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
Now, if Tom Telesco,
he's smart enough to know, Jay.
If he's worth his salt, his sweat as a general manager, he's got to take a hard line look at that because these guys want to play. They're going to lay it on the line for this guy. You don't want to go through another year with guys trying to figure out a coach and figure out what he wants and figure out. This guy's a sophisticated coach. He puts. Remember, you don't
want to be like the Texans and hire a new coach every year.
No, you don't want that.
Let's just. This guy's good. He was a defensive coordinator of the year 2 years ago.
Well, he had the Rams, the number one defense in the National Football League the previous year. They weren't. They weren't.
Just threw another touchdown pass. Jackie.
I saw that.
Man, when we come back, we're gonna have to get these people caught up with this game. It's 24-0. It's a
putting
blowout.
A serious whipping on them.
We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Well, welcome back to OnPoint Live with Vince and Jackie. We're here in the third quarter of this game, Jackie, and nothing's going right for the Bucs. Doesn't look like they're backed up on the 20-yard line. It's 3rd and 9. They're not getting any yards.
The only thing that's going right for them is the kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. He's missed 4 straight.
Have you ever
extra
seen
points.
that before?
I've never seen it. I've never seen a kicker miss 4 straight extra points.
Yes. Well, there's a fumble.
Well,
at least
the ground can't cause the fumble.
Well, I don't know, but they're letting it play out, Jackie. That's the way.
But the ground can't cause a fumble.
Well, but did he have possession before he hit the ground?
The ground can't cause a fumble.
There's a yellow flag now for a late
that
hit.
That was unsportsmanlike conduct by one of the Dallas Cowboys, number 56 right there. He jumped on top of the offensive lineman for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he landed up on him with all his weight. And I think the referee saw it.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't.
That's Godwin. Godwin's come up a little wheezy on that catch and run after the catch. Vince, he's trying to get the first down.
I remember Raphael Seption. Remember Raphael Seption?
Yeah, oh sure, Seption.
Yeah. I mean, we had some good kickers,
Oh yeah.
And Vince, they took their after I started getting on them, they started taking
they started to play a little better.
Taking their craft a little bit more serious, man.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I
well, you've always given them a little bit of gripe
because I would go there. I'm sweating,
and they're drinking all the Gatorade,
and they're sitting over there drinking it. First of all, you can't get to the Gatorade because they're standing there blocking the way, standing there in front of the table with Gatorade in their hands, like, okay, everybody's stepping up to the bar. Move out of the way. Move out of the way. First off,
it's not like they're going to drink the whole thing of Gatorade.
No, not at all.
They're not even tired of
it. And then when we go out and start kicking field goals at the end of the practice, they've been standing around all day long. You'll kick field goals, extra points at the end of practice. Then they're missing field goals. Well,
this mayor has missed 4 consecutive tries after touchdown,
but not field goals.
And
they're extra
right
points. These are extra points.
They're extra points. I know it. They're
unbelievable.
Right in front of
the coach,
goalpost.
Bones is the coach. John Fossil.
Yeah.
Now,
what's he going to do? They can't go to get another kicker. He's kicked pretty good most of the year, Jackie.
Yeah, they say he had a good year, but John Fossil is one of the special team gurus when it comes to kickers.
Yeah.
And we've known that about him for years and years and years. And if John Fossil don't go and straighten this kid out.
But that's what I was going to ask. How do you straighten a kicker out, Jackie?
I don't know,
can you say something to him, or is it nerves, or what is it?
I don't understand the mentality associated with that position. And Lord knows I have tried to figure it out. I have tried to figure it out, Vince.
We've seen so many teams. That could be the demise of so many teams. Well, let's talk real quick, Jackie, about that Dolphins and Bills game. The Dolphins were pretty much out of the playoffs. They happened to get back in with the third-string quarterback. He didn't play too bad, but they're another team that had a 17-point lead, and it almost looked like it came down to the wire for that game. They were lucky to win.
Buffalo was just flat, it seemed. It's just they made plays when they had to have them, Vince, but
they came out great, Jackie. It was 14-0.
Yeah.
They kicked another field goal. It was 17-0. They were rolling.
Right.
And then
they just started.
The Dolphins caught life.
It
just came back. And,
what's the head coach's name? McDaniels.
Sean McDermott. Oh, and Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniel. He went to Yale.
Wow.
And here's a guy that's really interesting, Vince. And I think a lot of us, if we take some of his advice just on the way he, try to live his life, it can make a big difference. He decided he was getting ready to go into business after studying at Yale.
Yeah.
And he decided after he met a guy who was a coach that his passion was for football coaching. Mm-hmm. And this guy put him in contact. I think it was Shanahan that gave him his first job.
Mike Shanahan. Right?
And he is of the opinion that because of the job that he has, he will never work a day in his life. And I'm so impressed with that. You look at this guy, he's a fairly insignificant looking fellow. When you say this,
man, with those glasses,
he looks like a guy that's hanging on the campus that's in grad school.
Hey, Jackie, we got a caller online.
Okay,
who's on the line? We got to figure out. Hello and welcome to OnPoint Live. Who do we have online?
Hey guys, it's Ryan. How are you?
Hey Ryan, how are you?
Fine,
this is
Ryan,
Vince, and we got Jackie.
I'm good. Hey, look, I know we're talking about playoffs and stuff like that, but I'll give you 2 quarterback questions.
Okay.
First one is it time for Tom Brady to go, or is this a product of the system? What is the issue with Tom and the Bucs this year?
Well, most people have commented on the way he plays. He's still throwing the ball lights out. I mean, he's throwing the ball as well as anybody in the NFL. So I don't think age has caught up to him when it comes to throwing the football. He still is bright and smart and can still lead a team. And I think he still has, at 44, I think he still can play. And it's not like his ability is diminished. It's just that I don't think Tampa Bay has been the same team the entire season. They've been injury riddled. They've had problems up front. Jensen is the only guy that came back tonight that's really gave a big lift. They had Peters come in and he went out with another injury. They've been hurt all year. So I don't know what's going on with their practices, with their preparation. It just doesn't look like they couldn't stop the run this year. Tonight, when you look at Tom Brady, I mean, yeah, you would almost think like, what's he doing out there? Well, they're playing the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are really playing good football right now. So, Ryan, I just happen to say that, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. He's one of the best that's ever played this position, and he can still play. I think there's so much talk about him moving on next year in the Raiders with Devontae Adams and him joining McDaniels over there, Josh McDaniels, that could happen.
I'm not a quarterback, Ryan, but I played with 21 different quarterbacks. And I will say this, will never bet against Tom Brady. It just isn't going to happen for me. This guy has proven time and time again, all the way back to his rookie year when he beat my St. Louis Rams at that particular time in that Super Bowl. So I'm never going to go against this guy. The thing that concerns me about him is kind of like what happened with Jason Peters tonight. Jason Peters is 40 years old, and he started at left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys tonight. Vince and I were watching Jason Peters. They showed what happened to him, and he was going against air. In other words, the man in front of him had slowed down, and he was just moving laterally to stay in front of him. When the play was over, he put his hand on his hip, he tapped his head, and he walked very gingerly to the sideline. He hasn't been back since. And we didn't see one abrupt move that he made that could have caused something to pop. And that was just because of the age of the guy. That's what happened to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm doing things that I've done routinely, and all of a sudden, something pops. And that's the thing that concerns me about Tom. The guy's, his mind is obviously a great football mind. He's still technically sound with his delivery. I never heard Vince say one time, I don't like the way he threw that ball. I mean, all the balls are very calculated. He's got a system down where he's successful with his mechanics. The only thing that concerns me and I worry about is what happened to me. Father Time catches up with us all. And he's 3 years beyond when I played, Vince. And I just hope it just one little thing just doesn't snap here or there that causes him an inability to play. But right now, you support Tom Brady with the right cast, you got a winning football quarterback.
Well, and the other thing too, Jackie and Ryan, I have to tell you, they have some great talent on this team as well. Mike Evans has been a great receiver in this league. They've got Julio Jones, and up until a couple of years ago, he'd probably been the 1, 2, or 3 best receivers in football.
Right.
They don't have a plan for these guys. Jackie and I spoke about what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do for the 49ers. They have a plan for each individual player. I don't see that at all with Godwin. They had Antonio Brown last year. He walks away in disgust. I don't know what happened there. There was a drop-off, and I don't know if it's coaching, but to have a guy like Tom Brady at the helm, you have to have a very intricate offensive game plan and put in place. And there's got to be something for everybody there. And it's just not happening for Tampa Bay. And I don't think it's because his skills are diminished. So that's my answer for that.
I agree. I don't think it's his skills either. I think it's a combination of the talent that he has around him, the weapons that he has around him, and maybe
the system, what they're putting in.
And maybe even some of the expectations that Tom has. They got a fairly young play caller there. They got a defensive-minded head coach. Even though I see, who I see roaming the sidelines for them? Tom Moore. Yeah, Tom Moore was the offensive coordinator at the coach the whole time Peyton Manning was there, and he's a bright mind. But I just don't see that conversation going on with he and Tom that would tell me that this is who is calling the plays. This is who is in Tom's head about everything that's going on. I haven't seen that with Tom Moore. So, Brady could simply, at this point in time, be overwhelmed with having to deal with way too much. That could be a possibility, Vince.
Good question, Ryan. Well, I hope we answered that for you, and thanks for calling in. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, you did. You got it, guys. And I was just going to follow up real quick to say you mentioned, Tom, about going to Oakland and talking about the same division. Look at Russ Wilson, right? So if you're right now a head coach, is the Denver job remotely appealing because you have to go in and try and fix Russ? Or do you say, hey, look, it's not fixable at this point?
Well, they're interviewing guys like Sean Payton, and they're in a
Sean
coaching
could fix
search right now.
Sean Payton could fix it.
He could probably put something. He's pretty remarkable when it comes to game planning and putting stuff together. So I don't know if he'll end up there, but he's obviously going to look at what's best opportunity for him as well. But he's a good coach that lurks out there. But they really need. They're going to have to. They need to resurrect that program somehow.
Yeah, and to do that, they're going to have to get a guy who garners the respect not only of the people that's hiring him, but of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has had a lot of people to work with him over the years. Some are very, very good, and some, got fired here recently. So it's got to be a guy. I heard someone today talk about an interview and how an interview should occur, and how the general manager that you're going to hire before he is hired, he should sit down and he should talk with your quarterback. But he should the general manager, before he hires that head coach, he should have that head coach to sit down and talk with that quarterback. Sit down and talk with some of the key members that you've committed to financially over the long haul to see if the chemistry begins to strike up. And so I thought that was a really cool thing. And to me, you are going to have to be some sort of a wizard to come in there and get Russell Wilson on board with you conversationally and experientially. And so I would be watching that, and I would bring in only people, no wet behind the ear guys that you're just trying to start off by underpaying him and all that and hoping that he grows and all that. You got to bring in somebody that garners the respect of Russell Wilson right now. I think that's going to be key.
Well, hopefully they'll get it all together, and I know they got a lot of big fans in Denver Broncos. Boy, I tell you, they're hungry for another winning team, and they were close, but it just when I saw Russell Wilson go to Denver, I thought, oh, this could be the answer.
The missing piece.
Obviously, it needs to be coach, quarterback, system, and culture. So Hopefully it answers for you. Ryan, thanks for calling in. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Vince, it's always a pleasure when we have people like Ryan and John call in, and I just like to continue to say to those of you who are enjoying what Vince and I are doing, and remember us as the old Rams and everything. We want to challenge you. Challenge us. There's some fantastic football minds out there, and I'm always infatuated when I meet a guy who never played the game or a young lady who never played the game that will ask me a question.
Didn't we have some great questions?
Well, ask me a question, and I'll go, rut roll. I don't know the answer to that one. So we want to encourage you. Leave a message down there. Thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up if you think we're doing okay, and let's continue this journey together. We appreciate you.
Jackie, as we wind down our show, we're watching this great game tonight. It's been all Dallas Cowboys tonight. Again, they throw into the tight end. But real quickly, that Ravens-Bengals game, I really have to go back to that one play that stuck out in my mind when the Ravens quarterback, Huntley, was trying to do a quarterback sneak, Jackie, and he had the pile drivers right behind him, Jackie, and he tried to leap over, and the ball was deflected.
I don't know.
Why would you leap when you have pile drivers to push you over the goal line? That would have been that they might have won that game, Jackie, at that point, because it was tied.
I've never seen
99
Have you ever seen anything like that?
No.
At Pop Warner,
never.
Junior high school, at high school, the junior college. Amazing. Have you ever seen anything like that, Vince?
Wow.
It's unbelievable that could happen.
I know.
Absolutely.
And that defensive lineman took it all the way.
All the way.
Andrews almost ran him down. Did you see that?
Yeah,
he was flying up there pretty good for a tight end.
He was hustling, but he went down kind of easily when he got blocked. He went down kind of easily when he got blocked.
Anyway,
I've never seen anything like that.
The Bengals took that by a touchdown. What was the final score on that one? 24-17. The Bengals beat the Ravens. And,
Vince, and I hope we got enough time to cover this subject, but Dr. David Chow, who reports on one of the podcasts that I was listening to today, he said that, he's of the now he's a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
but he seemed to indicate that he may be of the opinion that Lamar Jackson not attending the game yesterday and staying at home had something to do with his contract. And then he said that in week 18, Lamar Jackson was at the game.
Right.
So why all of a sudden that he's not at this game, which is, more important?
Speculative.
Yeah, speculative. Now, this is what I wanted to ask him. And I can appreciate, he's a doctor. He's a medical doctor, and he has his opinion about these injuries and everything.
Right.
But what I can't understand is why couldn't this guy see the fact that perhaps when he was at week 18's game, that he stood around and his knee swole up on him, and he found out that was something he shouldn't do again. So consequently, he decided not to go to this game. He never even mentioned that as a possibility.
Yeah, if he's a doctor, he would think he'd be in tune of what his injury is all about.
Yes,
the rehabilitation for that knee.
Yeah, as opposed to jumping outside of his realm of influence and saying that perhaps it was contractual. I happen to have fallen on my knee and had a PSL strain. And Vince, I can still remember like it was yesterday. It was my first year starting, and I didn't want to miss any time. My knee was killing me, and I remember putting my hand on the ground and lowering my weight through the bend of my knees. And when I did that, it just felt like it wanted to give out. Yeah. So when you think about Lamar Jackson with an injury like that, like the one that I had, got it in a similar fashion, banged it on the ground real hard. This guy's a tremendous athlete. If he can't feel good about the dynamic, explosive moves that he's able to make, then I can see him shutting it down.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought that was a little unfair.
Yeah. Well, there's other reasons probably why he didn't make the trip, Jackie, and probably the injury reason could have been the most severe. I mean, that's the most pertinent, because if they win the game, he might be ready to play next week. I mean, you just didn't know.
You never know.
I mean, I think that was a big problem. I don't think anyone in the organization knew what was, what the prognosis was, how soon he could be back. It's basically up to the player.
Well, they said that he was having discomfort and was day to day, and they didn't know. They said he could have played, but then they don't know how, if he would have been himself.
And moving forward, Jackie, this is the type of quarterback he is. Is this what the franchise needs moving forward? I mean, if he's injury prone now moving forward, if he signs a big contract, you don't want to be limited.
You don't want to be.
You want to be able to have some some flexibility there to get somebody who can really, lead the team.
But this is the problem, Vince, and this was mentioned today as I was listening to this. This entire organization offensively has been built around the skills that Lamar Jackson brings to the table.
That's true.
Nobody is running 46 and 47 gap keep as much as they are.
Yeah. What's the quarterback, the coordinator, Jim Rome, or not Rome, but I mean,
nobody is doing it any more than they are. And this guy is, how many times have we seen him get out of bad situations?
He's a unique player, Jackie, but and his speed is like what's devastating. It's a killer
and
effect.
His quickness. Don't forget that.
Yeah, he can outrun most everybody on the field, and he's at quarterback. So anyway, well, the Ravens will probably be back. They have John Harbaugh. They still have that team, and
Harbaugh said
they took it to they could have beat the Bengals if that quarterback sneak would have been over the end zone. I'm almost
that was the backbreaker right there. Well, the good thing is Harbaugh said that he is committed to Lamar. He knows Lamar.
He's always said that. He's
Lamar.
never wavered on that.
Never wavered on that. Yeah. So I kind of expect them to get things worked out, Vince.
Well, Jackie, it's been a great run. I mean, here we are in the playoffs. Next week we'll have the divisional playoff round, and we'll be back to share with our viewers our insight on that as well. But this game here at 3 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Anything could happen, Vince.
But
not likely.
Well, let's put it this way. Don't ever lose hope, because Tom Brady is still there, and he's best when it's 2-minute drill. Yeah. And if I was the quarterback right now, I'd go into a 2-minute operation
and just let him go throw the ball every snap.
Because that's the only way they've won games this year. I don't care if there's 3 minutes left in the third quarter. This is the time to go for it now.
Right. Just let him have control over the thing. Look at that. I hate to see that young man. That's a media collateral right there. The way that guy landed on the lateral aspect of his. You see that knee go in, Vince?
Yeah.
That's the way I lost my media. That's the way I hurt my knee, getting hit like that.
Yeah.
Pop that medial collateral, detach the cartilage in that area.
And we've seen so many injuries this year too, Jackie. It's just like I just hope this doesn't continue. This is not the norm.
But most of those injuries, Vince, you'd have to admit, were early on.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
they were early on.
They were.
And I still maintain that because coaches are not allowing guys to get comfortable dealing with the rigors of the sport in training camp early on, and they
it's a big
expect them to
effect.
all of a sudden go to 100 miles per hour in games 1, 2, and 3. You're setting yourself up for those kind of injuries.
You really are.
It's just simple as that.
Well, 2 minutes to go in this third quarter of this game. It's been pretty much in control. The Cowboys have controlled it offensively and defensively.
Offensively,
the only area the game is questionable has been the point after attempt for the kicker.
Area. So they've won in all 2 phases, not all 3.
Right. Well, not all 3. So here we have a screen that was blotted down. And we talked about all year long about this pass rush. That Parsons has been able to do it with the entire team. Van Der Esch in the middle, Diggs in the back, in the secondary is a pickoff artist.
Right.
I mean, these guys are running. And Jackie, when we played the Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my mind, were the 2 fastest overall teams in football. And I see that again with this Dallas Cowboy team right here. They are fast in all areas of the game. And I'm talking about fast. Every team's fast.
Yeah, speed.
They are faster than everybody else.
Yes, they are.
They don't have to jump off sides on the defensive front or line up off sides to get to the quarterback. They can use their just God-given ability and they get to the quarterback.
And they get there faster than everybody else.
So I mean, they're in a good position. They're going to give next week. They're going to give the 49ers a big run for their money, I think.
Vince, the interesting thing is we're in a 2 minute. They've gone to what you suggested. A 2 minute
they
situation.
have to do it.
Tom Brady is calling the plays right now. He's called the last 2 plays. The last 2 plays,
and that was a big gain.
The last 2 plays were first down
throw.
Conversions.
They're on the 35-yard line. Yeah, there's a big throw to Godwin, and who's back. So, but you know what, Julio Jones, I don't know why he's never got in the action of this team.
Who look at that? That's 3 straight passes.
Yeah,
and at least 10 yards.
They're in a hurry up offense.
They're 9 yards. That one was 9 yards. The other 2 were conversions. I mean,
maybe this is what they need to do, Jackie, just moving forward. I mean, the whole game they play like this.
Maybe take some of the play calling out of the offensive coordinator's hands.
Left witch, and put it in Brady's hands.
Let Tom handle it.
Yeah,
because he seems to be making decent. Look at that.
Now here
Julio
decisions. Jones. The first time I heard his name called all night, and we just talked about it.
Who does Julio Jones remind you of, Vince? Does he remind you of Mike Williams with the Chargers?
He's tall. Yeah.
Big body, big tall guy.
Yeah, very tall, fast, rangy.
Yeah.
They have a lot of tall receivers. Godwin is a little on the shorter side, but again, much different offense than what the Dallas Cowboys were using. Dallas Cowboys were importing 2 or 3 tight ends in the game. I don't really see Brady as the only one I've seen. They don't have Gronk anymore.
Right.
He was Tom Brady's go-to guy.
Right.
I mean, when he got in the clutch, he had to go to him. But that could be a big reason why they're not the same team too, Jackie.
Yes, it could be.
I mean, that the tight end is an overlooked position in football, and I think it's one of the most vital positions. Them and the fullback having a great big fullback back.
All you got to do is look at the teams that are winning consistently.
They have tight ends.
Kansas City.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Travis Kelce.
San Francisco.
George. Yeah. Exactly.
When the Rams were rolling last year, Tyler Higbee.
Right.
I mean, it's a unique position because they got to be big enough to handle some of those big defensive ends, and they got to be quick enough to evade coverage by undersized men that are trying to defend them in the passing game. It's a unique body build and a unique mentality too, Vince, in my opinion. Because you got to come down and help me deal with a 300-pounder on occasion. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, man. Use that tight end.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him and you blocking somebody? Watch out.
David Hill still gives me a hard time. And Pat Carter, because I would tell them, regardless of who was listening, the defensive lineman could be listening. If they needed to come down, I would tell them to come on down.
Come on, man. Come on down. Let's have some fun.
They hated that, Vince, because I just gave it away to a 300-pound man that they were coming down.
Well, Jackie, we have to say a farewell to all of our viewers back there, and glad you were stay tuned and listening to us this year. And for tonight, watch us again on OnPoint Live next week. We'll be back for the divisional playoff games.
That's right.
And enjoy the rest of this game. In the fourth quarter, we'll say goodbye to you now, and best of luck. Hope to see you again next week.
Brady's on a roll.
He is.